walking down the street.
I do want to say to Donnie and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
My head up.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just
Look at Donnie.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Donnie.
Letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor looked to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Donnie, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. All right, all right, all right. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Moon for Baltimore, more for Baltimore. Oh, they come out banging, don't they? Okay. Good morning, Michaela Gilliam Price. More for Baltimore. We're going to find out what that's all about. All right, so tomorrow's Black History Month, and you know me, I can't wait. So let's just get to it. Do you know what an Uncle Tom is? Yes, I posed that question. Well, it's the Donnie Glover Show. What were you expecting? So Harriet, what's her name? Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote this book. Now, I'm going to give it to you as I received it, and then we're going to get to, I guess, Sherryn from the Salvation Army. But a lot of times in the Black community, people will say, so-and-so is an Uncle Tom. The unfortunate thing is it's a mischaracterization. If anything, if you're trying to hurt somebody's feeling who happens to be Black, and trying to say that they are like not Black, a sellout, then the word would be more so like Sambo. Because the truth of the matter is Uncle Tom was a hero. But what happened is called America. America can take something beautiful, something just naturally Black, and throw a little twist on it. And next thing you know, we calling stuff by the wrong name. So let me give you the official definition. And there's a word that I really need to look up. Opprobrium. So you bear with me a second. We're going to get this up. Again, I guess it's from the Salvation Army today, and they're doing wonderful. Okay, harsh criticism or censor. That's what it's come to mean. So by definition, America, a Black man considered to be excessively obedient or servile to white people. A person regarded as betraying their culture or social allegiance. Okay, so then there's this other question. What is the real meaning? And I'm just going to give it to you all. Uncle Tom as a opprobrium. In many African-American communities, Uncle Tom is a slur used to disparage a Black person who is humiliatingly subservient or deferential to white people, derived from Stowe's character. But see, they kind of twist the story up. So the truth of the matter is, Uncle Tom was a hero. But America took that story because somebody cracked on Harriet Beecher Stowe and say, hey, you making money off of this story about Uncle Tom. Why don't you give him some money? Why don't you pay him? Since you took the story, because Uncle Tom actually, got free, got his freedom. Almost some Harriet Tubman stuff. Went and helped other people. But America has twisted this thing so much that what was is no longer. So let's go to this Maryland State Archives definition. Nope, nothing there. I guess I should have been a little better prepared. But the long story short, Uncle Tom was a hero. Harriet Beecher Stowe stole his story, didn't want to give up any money. Here we go. I found it. Thank you. Everything happens right when it's supposed to. Believe that. Everything happens exactly when it's supposed to. The story of Josiah Henson, the real inspiration for Uncle Tom's Cabin. Before there was the novel by Harriet Beecher Stowe, because Harriet Beecher Stowe was not creative. There's nothing creative there. She stole a story, just like they stole from the pyramids. A formerly enslaved African-American living in Canada wrote a memoir detailing his experience from his very moments in print. This is March 1852. So this is 13 years before American chattel slavery was technically abolished. Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin was a smashing success. Now, this white woman wrote about this black man who haultailed the candidate, sold 3,000 copies on his first day. And Frederick Douglass reported that 5,000 copies, the entire first print run, were purchased within 4 days. So immediately she's got Frederick Douglass's attention. And for those that don't know, Frederick Douglass was born in the state of Maryland, down on the Eastern Shore. Got to read the book, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. He was sent to Mr. Covey. Mr. Covey was a buck breaker. I'm not going to use the N word today, but he was a buck breaker. He was the type of slaver where they sent aggressive black people who happened to be enslaved for the purpose of breaking them, just like they put people in Supermax for 23 hours out of 24. And so he was also the most photographed American. Frederick Douglass, who was born in slavery, was the most photographed American of his era. Imagine that. Black people, you are beautifully astounding. Anyway, according to reports at the time, it took 17 printing presses around the clock to keep up with demand. Now, again, this is about a black man who breaks free to Canada. And he lived to the age of 87. Well, at least 87. Anyway, I'll give you a little bit more. In Canada, a former enslaved laborer, an aging Methodist minister named Josiah Henson, whose life story bore uncanny resemblances to Stowe's titular character, immediately understood its importance. Now, again, like I said, born in Port Tobacco, Maryland. So this is a Maryland story around 1789. Josiah Henson, again, is a Maryland story. Uncle Tom. And my name's Donnie Glover, and I'm reporting you from Baltimore, the home of segregation in America. And if you don't believe me, just go look up Baltimore Mayor J. Barry Mahool, 1907 and 1911, and read about him. And if there are women out there, you might want to read about J. Marion Sims, too. He's known as the father of gynecology, and we know what kind of rotten scoundrel he was, experimenting on black women without anesthesia. But that's America. I digress. Henson's first memory was of his father being whipped, having his ear cut off, and sold south. This is the brutality that America is known for. All his punishment for striking a white man who attempted to rape his wife. He never saw his father again. Henson was later separated from his mother, sold to a child trafficker, because that's what slavery is, trafficking, but soon fell deathly ill. The slave rider offered the boy to Henson's mother, owner, an alcoholic gambler named Isaac Riley, for a bargain free of charge if the young Henson died a barter of some horseshoeing work if he survived. But he did recover, and Henson and his mother were enslaved about 12 miles from Washington, D.C. on Raleigh's plantation. So this is getting a little long and drawn out. But the long story is Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote about Josiah Henson, stole his story, and ain't nothing heroic or creative about her. She's a damn thief. But Uncle Tom is the name. So after Frederick Douglass hit on Harriet Beecher Stowe, say, hey, you need to pay him since you stole his story. That's when America's racists got to work and they came out, oh, you're Uncle Tom, you're Uncle Tom. Okay, well, know what you're talking about. If you're going to call somebody Uncle Tom, know that Josiah Henson was a free man who broke and got his freedom up in Canada. Harriet Beecher Stowe stole his story. Frederick Douglass told her, you need to pay him. And that's when the racists came out and said, well, Uncle Tom was a sellout. Go figure. And that's your tip of Black history. And we're starting early. Okay, so in West Baltimore, in a few, well, actually, as we speak, there's a building called the William Penderhughes building, named after an educator from the Penderhughes family. Of course, everybody knows Alice Penderhughes. This school was turned into a homeless shelter under the Pugh administration. That's the same administration that gave us the consent decree, which is giving police a license not to do any damn police work. Like over there on Saturday, where 5 people got shot and 1 got killed. This is right across the street from where the Salvation Army building is being prepared. So we have with us to talk about not just that, but even more so the broader mission of the Salvation Army. Sherryn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Donnie?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Sherryn, how did you come to be involved with the with the Salvation Army?
I applied online. I wanted a job where I can help people and that I feel like I'm doing good things. And then the Salvation Army popped up. So I applied and here I am.
So what do you think now that you've been there?
I love it. I feel like I love working with the clients. I love working with the staff. I love what I'm doing. I feel like I'm doing something good. I feel like I'm helping people. And I can't say that about, not everyone can say that about any job that they have, but I can truly say that about as an employee of the Salvation Army.
Now, Sherryn, pronounce your last name for me one time.
Gaworecki.
Gaworecki. Okay, so you just skip everything, go Gaworecki. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
So tell me something about the Salvation Army that people don't know.
We are not just ringing the bells during Christmas time. We're hard at work 365 days a year. We have Catherine's Cottage, which helps victims of anti-human trafficking. We have a Boys and Girls Club, which saves children from living a life that they shouldn't be living. It gives children opportunity to learn life skills, computer skills, sports, and to grow more with God. We have, of course, we have our feeding pantries. We have our Feed More mobile canteen in West Baltimore. We are feeding the homeless in East Baltimore and West Baltimore with our Cornbread Cafe canteen quite frequently. When there is an emergency, when there's a disaster, who is the first one there when there's a tornado? When we had the water crisis in West Baltimore with the E. coli issue, we were right there, handing out jugs of water face to face with the people in need. So
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Donnie. So what I can just say is I feel like we do a little bit of everything. We even have a thrift store in Howard County. We call it a boutique. So in the forefront, you'll see some really nice designer clothes. In the back end, you'll have clients coming in for furniture, clothing, other social service needs. So we also have service centers around Central Maryland, such as Glen Burnie, Carroll County, Howard County, Harford County, and Cecil County. And we're just here just to help people in the end of the day. whatever the needs are.
So Sherryn, I wonder how many people know the history of the Salvation Army. Are you a history scholar?
I aspire to be. I wish to be.
Well, there's one name that I would imagine everybody at the Salvation Army knows, and that's William Booth.
Yeah.
Now, he
So
began the
William,
Salvation Army in 1865. That's the same year American chattel slavery was technically abolished as a means to help the suffering souls throughout London. So it started in London. William Booth in London, helping people who were not willing to attend or even welcome into the traditional church. So this came out of some of the challenges that were going on in Europe with respect to Christianity, because there were, what do you call them? People that leave the church was not that there were so many different branches of the church. Not everybody was Catholic. Some people were Roman Catholic or Protestant. That's the word I'm looking for.
So what most people don't realize is Salvation Army, we're a religion. We're an evangelical religion. We're an offshoot of Methodist. So William Booth, he brought in the harlots, the poor, the drunkard, people who would not be seen as acceptable in the church in
So
1865.
hold up. So you almost had to have a certain social status to go to church in those days in England.
Yep. But what was great about William Booth, he believes that we are all made in God's image. We all deserve respect.
He said, cut the BS out. Stop playing. If you're going to serve God, then serve God. I've seen that in church. I've seen where, the well-dressed man that comes in, and somebody might know what he does for a living, and they'll walk him up to the front. But the man with a little wine on his breath, a little unshaven, oh no, you can't come in, or you got to sit all the way in the back and don't say nothing. Don't make no noise. That's not God, is it?
So the Salvation Army is far different than any Christian religion I've ever seen. They accept anyone and everyone, the poorest of the poor. We have people with issues, and they're brought in, and everyone's equal. Look past everything talking. I've seen it. Seen the clients. I've seen how the staff and the core members treat people with respect and dignity. It's lovely. You're not just getting a meal. You're not just getting help. You're getting a friend for life. You're getting help. You're getting support. You're getting respect. And you're getting the next step to living a better life. And that's what I truly believe with the Salvation Army. And the religion is so accepting of everyone. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, what your background is, or who you are accepted and loved.
I think about some of the meetings that I have had the opportunity to attend, and I wish more people could see what happens behind the scenes. So for all of the various initiatives that the Salvation Army is involved in, people don't see what happens behind the scenes. There's a lot of work and preparation. Let's use this for an example. Thanksgiving. What did the Salvation Army of Central Maryland, that's where you're from?
So apologies, Donnie. So the Salvation Army of Central Maryland, we teamed up with 53 families to host a really large Thanksgiving meal. And it wasn't just a meal in the city. We invited like several thousand families in Central Maryland to come together to have Thanksgiving with NFL players, with the Ravens. And it's not just a meal. We want to give them a special memory. And everyone was treated with dignity and respect at the Thanksgiving meal. And they had a great time. They took selfies with NFL players. But it's just more than that, because don't they deserve to have a great Thanksgiving meal, to have fellowship with everyone else? Does that make sense? Like, I feel like everyone deserves Thanksgiving. They deserve to be treated with respect. So we throw events, we do Christmas events, we do Thanksgiving. And another reason we give Thanksgiving is some people can't afford the meal. Some people are isolated. Some people don't have families. So organizations like the Salvation Army bring people together and let people know that it's okay if you can't afford this meal. It's okay if you feel isolated. You're not alone. You have a great meal. You are loved and you are taken care of. And you're treated with respect in the end of the day.
When did you first join?
September 2021.
Okay. Well, you working on what, a year and a half, going on 2 years?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. It's been a while.
How did you come across the opportunity to work at the Salvation Army?
I previously worked
Right.
at Maryland Public Television, so I worked in the nonprofit field.
You worked at Maryland Public Television with Owens
Mhm.
Mills?
Yeah, I worked there. I worked in the fundraising department for 4 years.
Did you? One of my mentors works at Maryland Public Television. I've been
Who?
on your station a couple of times. What's his name? Dave Salkin?
Jeff?
Jeff Salkin. Yeah, I've been on his show a couple
Oh
of
my
times.
gosh, I love Jeff Salkin. He's so sweet.
But he's not my mentor. My mentor is not sweet though. His name's Charles Robinson.
Charles is funny.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's mean.
He's not. Nah. Charles is. I have nothing but happy memories of MPT. Everyone was so friendly, you know. But I worked there for 4 years in the fundraising department, and I wanted to work in the nonprofit field, but I really wanted to help people in most need. So I typed in nonprofit, Salvation Army popped up. I was fortunate. I'm very grateful every day for this job, for the people I work with, for the people I help. So
why? Yeah.
I just feel grateful to just be able to be out there to help people with my communications, with like spreading the word about the Salvation Army, with being there in the trenches, helping the clients as well.
Did you know how? So what have you learned since you've been there about like the work? Have you had any moments that have come along me like, I thought this was the right place, now I know it? Did you have any aha moments? And did you have any?
Yeah. Temple Corps. Anytime I work with Lieutenant Chisholm or Captain Chisholm, anytime I'm working in Temple Corps, I feel so much peace. I feel like this is where I have to be. This is where I have to, when I'm in West Baltimore. Whenever we are in West Baltimore and we're helping people, I just feel so much peace. Like, okay, this is where I have to be. This is people I need to help, the people I need to get to know.
You saying that about West Baltimore?
Like, especially with Temple Corps, I love everyone there. They're so sweet.
Where is it?
It's in Franklin Square.
So you just had an event there Saturday.
I did. Well, we did. So we teamed up with Toyota, Walk in My Boots. We distributed 150 Boggs insulated boots and really Woolworth socks to 150 children and families from West Baltimore. So what most people don't know is not everyone has a car. Not everyone's inside all day. A majority of people in need take the bus. And if you're not wearing the proper footwear, you can get frostbite and hypothermia. So the boots are life-saving. They help children and families get to where they need to be without getting sick.
Well, let me just say this, Sherryn. If you're homeless, these, staying warm is imperative.
It's so imperative. And this kind of digresses from the Toyota Walk in My Boots event, but we had a coat drive a couple weeks ago. We teamed up with SIPS. So we were collecting coats from all over Central Maryland to give to the homeless. And what most people don't know is the homeless don't just wear one coat during the season. They have to wear 3 to 4 coats a day, because if their coat is wet, they can get sick. They can get hypothermia, because we have homes The only home a homeless individual has is their coat. So we have coat drives to save lives. We have boots to save children's lives. So I would say it's love beyond the outerwear that we're giving. And that's what we're doing. It's not just a meal, it's more than a meal. It's not just a coat, it's more than a coat. It's not just a boot, it's more than a boot. It's someone's livelihood.
Well, tell me about when you had the football players out there. You had the Baltimore Ravens. You tend to partner with different with other groups. So this was what, Thanksgiving, the Ravens. It was a combination event down at the convention center.
So we've had a long-standing relationship with 53 Families. I guess don't quote me. Still new. I think it's been over 10 years.
Mhm.
And yes, we bring in the NFL players to hang out with our clients, but we also give once in a lifetime opportunities. So with the Boys and Girls Club recently, 53 Families teamed up with our Boys and Girls Club to give them private access to see their training. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for these children, because some of these children have never been to a football game, have never been to a baseball game, because they just live in the street that they live in, and they don't always leave the street that they live in. So the Boys and Girls Club with the Salvation Army gives these once in a lifetime opportunities. I would say the Boys and Girls Club gives a lot of children a childhood, to go to a game, to meet the players, to get the autograph, to enjoy themselves. So they're giving a childhood, 53 Families and Salvation Army.
I'm curious, do you do any partnerships with the Baltimore Orioles?
We definitely do, but I would have to touch base with you later about that.
I only asked that, and that was, maybe not a fair question, but I see the Ravens in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's just because they're big football players. They have an ongoing relationship with the community. It's nothing to see them in Sandtown over the years, on Pennsylvania Avenue, down at the convention center. It's normal. It's normal to see the Ravens. I don't know about the other guys. I don't ever see him. But on that note, I am a big Cal Ripken fan when it comes to his philanthropy.
I love that. Yeah.
In Baltimore in the Brooks Robinson era, I am Brooks for life. He was the human vacuum cleaner on third base. But Cal Ripken, while I wasn't his biggest fan as a player, his give back, his philanthropy is par excellence. Par excellence.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure that James Mosier, for instance, that's where I played Little League Baseball, made sure that we had a brand new field. And he's done that all across the state and beyond, I imagine. But his give back in terms of athletes, because we've had a lot of athletes come out of Baltimore. Big ups to Carmelo Anthony. To my knowledge, he's the only player from the NBA to have a center named after him. Now, that's since changed, politics and all of that crap. But I'm grateful to those, you used that word earlier, one of my favorites. Grateful to those people, whether they're famous or not famous, who did just like Mr. Booth did, who made life better for everybody, especially you're making multi-millions of dollars, and it's all about you. You never give back. You never go and help the less fortunate. I want you to tell me about the cottage place, because with the Super Bowl coming up, in a few days, did you know that the #1 trafficking venue in the world is the Super Bowl?
I remember you talked about that before, and that was the first I heard about the Super Bowl being a #1 trafficking route. Football, and I'm not surprised.
Men traveling, and they want, women, girls, boys, men. The Super Bowl, #1 trafficking event in the world, right here in the United States. So having said that, the last time we were together, we talked about this place, this cottage, this safe house. And I don't know that the significance can be reiterated enough. Tell us about the cottage.
So we'll just start with anti-human trafficking and then go into the cottage. It's anywhere and it's everywhere, and it can happen to whomever. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter how rich you are. You can be a victim of anti-human trafficking. It happens commonly around the Beltway, in airports, within family members. You can be, if you have, it's just
Sherryn,
boundless.
I have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And years ago, maybe 12, 13, I let her know you have to be aware of your surroundings. I said to her, I'll never forget it. There could be someone held hostage right next door to you where you live.
Yep. It's so
They
common.
could be living down in the basement.
It can happen like that.
And you hear scream, you think you hear scream, then you don't. I mean, it's real. There are some very mean people in the world who have no problem rocking somebody's world, snatching them. There are people like that.
And taking them internationally.
Yeah.
With labor trafficking, sex trafficking, commercial sex trafficking, especially if you're underage. This happens. And so that is step one. There are the victims. Step two, we have a safe house. It's an undisclosed location in Maryland, but we house victims and we give them their life back in a 12-step program with love and acceptance. Because once you're a victim of human trafficking, you forget your social skills, you lose your confidence.
You're traumatized.
You're not who you used to be. So what Catherine's Cottage does is they give you your life back if you follow the steps and procedures.
There was a time in Baltimore, Sherryn, where just on that, you alluded to your freedom being taken away. I remember when this was 1999 and the new mayor came into Baltimore and was locking up people for sitting on their steps. It was called zero tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
My father almost got locked up. I mean, he was a businessman, suit and tie every day, and some nasty, ignorant ass cops. I'm sorry, you can't cuss on the show. We got the Salvation Army. I'm sorry. This ignorant cop said, "Get off the avenue. Get the F off the avenue." This was under then Mayor Martin O'Malley. That was zero tolerance. And a lot of people's freedom got snatched. They find themselves locked up. But now, since then, they have this bail reform going on. And what I'm getting to is a regular person who's working, they get arrested. And they could end up over central booking 8 to 9 months before they even go to court. So their job is gone, their apartment is gone, their girlfriend is gone, their children don't know where they're at. That's what can happen when people get unfairly targeted and arrested in the city of Baltimore. Mass incarceration. So that's not the same as trafficking. But as you mentioned, trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Half of Baltimore is traumatized. Going back to Freddie Gray. When Freddie Gray happened, the first thing that I thought should have happened, they should have Winnebagos up and down North Avenue, Winnebagos up and down Monument Street with therapists. See, it's almost like, oh, they black people, they can handle it. No, we get traumatized too. Especially in the inner city. This is trauma. That's what you saw. That's what you see at Catherine's Cottage. Trauma.
They're traumatized. And the great thing about Catherine's Cottage is they know your background, they know your history, you're accepted with love. I know that sounds cliche,
No.
but I've seen it. It's so loving that they become part of this big family. They have dance classes, they have cookie decorating classes. The women are treated like women again, or the men are treated like men again, because it's all erased. It's you are a person, and we want to help you. We want to help you get a job. When you leave, get an apartment, touch base, see how you're doing, help you heal from the psychological, the physical trauma. And each room in Catherine's cottage is like a hotel, just to remind the victim that you are deserving of respect, of beautiful things, because deep down you're a beautiful person despite what you have gone through.
And that's what trauma can do to us, make us feel we're not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Or part of the trauma, not just your freedom taken away, but your peace of mind.
And that's what Catherine's Cottage does. It gives people their life back from the
And
trauma.
you mentioned drug addiction. So some people
The
get strung
ARCs.
out.
So we have the Salvation Army, I wouldn't say Central Maryland, but the Salvation Army has an alcohol rehab center in Prince George's County, which accepts people with alcohol and drug addiction. And what's different about every other rehab center is this is like a 6-month to 1 year process. So oftentimes with rehab centers, you're just there for 30 days and you're out. This is a free service where you have to go to church on Sundays. You are placed to work every day. You have to make your bed. You have to learn life skills. You have to be like, they teach you how to be a functioning person as you're staying sober and staying clean and introducing scripture. So it's a little bit different, but it's a lifelong process. It's a skill set you learn once you're at the ARC. You can get a job after the ARC. You can become employable. You can reach back to your family, because oftentimes people with alcoholism are isolated. They just, they drink to a stupor. But what the ARC teaches you is you're part of a community. You're part of a bigger family. You are loved. You are accepted.
Sometimes through that trauma, isolation does become a survival mechanism, and we burn bridges, we isolate, and that's one of the worst things that people can do. On the other hand, when you think of the DJ on the Ellen Show, popular DJ, everybody see him, and people would bet that he was a happy person. Now, this is presuming that it was suicide. I mean, I've heard other stories, but just the fact of suicide, just the fact that these are tough times. I mean, these times are so tough that a former president tried to do a damn insurrection and had people climbing the walls of a Capitol. That's some serious mental illness, Sherryn. I've never seen anything like that in the history of mankind. They climbed the walls of the Capitol. That's mental illness too, Sherryn. Okay, so, but mental illness can isolate us. And I'm happy to hear that you try to get people, that you work to get people reacclimated to little things, like eating.
Eating's
Like
a big
sitting down
deal.
at a table and eating.
So what's interesting about the Salvation Army, we don't just do cold sandwiches. We do nice homemade warm meals for the homeless, home cooked meals. And we give away hygiene products, coats, blankets, toothpaste, soap, life essentials. We try to go above and beyond to let the homeless know we got you. We got you. You're taken care of when you're out there struggling. You are loved when you're out there struggling. From the cold, from feeling isolated and alone. And that's the Salvation Army. We have you. We care.
What else would you like to share before we wrap this up? You want to tell them about Major Roger Glick? Please talk about the Major. I don't want to get beat up when I get off this show.
I'm fortunate to have a wonderful CEO like Major Glick. He's just so sweet and warm. And he
And
makes the
don't forget
best
his wife,
jokes.
the other major Glick. I really think she's the boss.
I love them both. They're such a cute couple. They really make the Salvation Army going. They care.
But
Like
we
you
got to
see it
work
in
on
their
his.
like you see it in their faces and in their hearts. Like they really
But
viscerally care
Sharon,
for
he's a
our
Cowboy.
staff and for like the outside world.
But
For
Sharon, he's a
everyone.
Cowboys fan. I'm a little perplexed about that. We gotta get him. We have to paint his office purple.
My office is purple.
We gotta get him in Ravens purple. He gotta get it together. Dallas Cowboys. But
Everybody.
one thing I can appreciate about him, John Davis, Eric, so many others. Help me out. I invited him to come to Sandtown. You may not know this, but I invited him to come at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, how did that go?
They got to see the real deal. See, daytime was a little calm, but they came at nighttime. If you ever really want to know how a neighborhood is, go there at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Because
I
you
know.
will see things, or you might see things that you won't see.
Oh, I'm
during
sure
the
I'll
day.
see things I've never seen before.
I had some friends. They left Baltimore. They had a famous nightclub. They moved to Atlanta, opened up a nightclub, but they never checked out the back late night. Come to find out that out back late night was like a whole crack cocaine colony of people.
Oh, wow.
But you already bought your business there. You already got a lease.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't know out back was like 200-300 crack addicts.
Oh,
All
wow.
night, every night. Kind of changes the trajectory of your vision, doesn't it? Like, we won't be staying here long. So any final thoughts before we wrap this up? And you did really good, Sharon. I know you didn't know where this was going. I started out talking about Josiah Henson, but anyway, your thoughts on what's the call to action? What do you want people to do? Is there a phone number, or is there a call to action that you would like to employ at this time?
I have two call to actions. Number one, visit www.sa-md.org to not only learn more about our organization, but to make a donation. Because with a donation, even a small donation, we can feed the homeless, we can help children from our Boys and Girls Club, we can save someone's life at Catherine's Cottage. My second call to action is, if you find our YouTube page, type in Salvation Army of Central Maryland. We are the Red Shield channel. Subscribe. Our team, we're creating stories once or twice a week, video stories about what's going on in Baltimore. We want to share what we're doing to help people. Please subscribe. Please share our videos.
Great job, Sherryn Gaworecki.
Thank you, Donnie. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine. Come back anytime. Keep us updated. Let us know how people can help. And again, the Salvation Army here in Central Maryland will be coming over to the Penderhughes building right there where the shootout happened on Saturday. 5 people got shot. 1 got killed. A little baby was injured. Innocent bystanders, foolishness, all a result of bad policing here in the city of Baltimore. So thank God for the work that you do and the rest of the team at Salvation Army. Sherryn Gaworecki.
Thank you, Donnie.
Good deal. See you next time, okay?
See you next time.
All right. My name's Donnie Glover. This has been another edition. Do check out Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore is running for, I don't know what you're running for, Michael Moore. But check out Moore for Baltimore because Michael said so. My name's Donnie Glover. Have a powerful day. Good morning, world.